All right, guys, I know these are annoying, but here we go. Last time since we actually have arrived on Black Friday. Seems like Black Friday goes for a week now. Just the last day, you'll have to listen to me talk. We don't do these very often, but we've got the Black Friday deal going. Many people have taken advantage of that. We appreciate that. But just just so you know what's going on. Maybe you only check in on Friday, so just so you know that that's there. 30% off your first, 35 off a 3 month, and 40% off of 6 month. That's the big savings. So there you go, guys. All right, let's get to the video. Okay, guys. All right. So good turnout in the poll today, and Link. Well, we're going to do Link and EOS, and of course, in addition to Bitcoin here. So we'll start with Link because we've looked at this several times, and so we have a foundation here. Now we've had to adjust the count a bit. That's very often the case. That's the reality of Elliott Wave. Here, let me get. I know that thing's annoying. So we had been looking at this, of course, right? We have a reasonable case to be made for an impulse coming up here, and as this came down, hit the 50, you could kind of work an ABC or a WXY. You had potential, right? And then we came off with an impulse, so it was set, right? It was not unreasonable to think, oh, 1, 2 is going in, up we go for 3, 4, 5, but we, of course, obviously we don't get it. So this is, one of the interesting things about Elliott is that damn near almost always a way to rework the count to come up with something that's consistent with rules and guidelines. Right now, it's mixed emotions about Elliott Wave. As you guys know, it's not, I use it, but it's third in line of priorities, right? Just to emphasize that. So that being said, this count is kind of getting interesting here. Now, so first, we're kind of looking up here going, why can't we get any traction up here? Well, interestingly, in Link, unlike Bitcoin, the resistance has been the 50s. Right, so here's damn near 50 to the tick, if I'm right on that little front run. That this is a push they're trying to get. Can't do it. All right, so it rolls over again. So so thus we're now changing the count pretty substantially here from that thinking that we had 1, 2, and off we were headed. Now, so with that, there is a pretty reasonable case here for, I've never seen so many expanded flats as I'm seeing lately in crypto. This is very unusual. So, but here at a larger degree, because we just looked at Bitcoin where we had several of them, here it looks like, again, you got to go with an expanded flat. The A, I think you just got to go ABC into this, and then ABC is pretty solid, and it's technical, right? No, this should be zero, no surprise here. Golden zone, here we get a little front run on the target here. So this is just typical market swing, right? Nothing unusual there. But now, so with our Elliott hats on, if we're thinking, oh, okay, well, if I've got to rework this count, I still think a reasonable case here for the impulsive 1. We're going through this somewhat unusual correction. Anyways, of course, it's not like we don't see these. So with that, I think with that established here, and we can see what happened there. We know there was just a straight algo play in here. From an Elliott perspective, if we're thinking about an expanded B wave, well, I got to change my template here. So let's go here. Now, so here's the 1, 2, 3, 6, the length of the A projected from this pivot. So we've gone up in excess. Well, obviously, we've gone past 100%. We've gone to the 1, 2, 3, 6, which is quite common for a B wave in an expanded B wave. And then you add in the fact that we had that perfect algo swing here. And we've got a solid contender here for a B, given we get the impulse that follows. So I think this count is very reasonable. But then you look down here and you go, oh, well, that's kind of interesting. You look here, we got this little low volume node here, and kind of drag that across, and you go, huh. Well, that looks kind of interesting. Maybe it's related to this one pivot here, and you kind of start putting some pieces together here, and you go, oh, okay, well, I can kind of understand that. We have very little market acceptance here. Yeah, it's not to the tick, but we come, right, we literally put it just a tick in to get into that little low volume node. Remember, of course, now if this is going to play as an expanded B wave, then we are now trading this as a 1, 2. So in here is 1. Here's our 2. Now we're going for 3. So you got to wonder about that pivot, and perhaps you guys have done the exact same thing. Members, I'm sure you have. Right. So we got to change the template. Now let's go back to just a straight measured move. And what do we have? Golden zone. Coincidence? Let you draw your own conclusions there, right? You know what my thinking is, right? There are no random pivots, none of any significance, right? So here we are, golden zone. So with that said, if this is going to go 1, 2, and I'm in the golden zone, well, shit, I sure as hell got a golden corner setting up here. So 1, I'm going to come down for my 2 right in. Remember, note, right, not the 618. It's in the golden zone. It just goes far enough in to get into golden zone. So here's our shorthand, right? We know that's going to be right on top of the 1618. So we tee it up. 1, A, expanded B, down for, we get the impulsive 5. So I've got just a beautiful setup here for a golden corner. Right? No, so I say this every time because I have to emphasize this. As long as this pivot holds, 80% probability. Now we could get there here, 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 here. I'm just using the geometry here because it gives me kind of a time component here. The market is creating this. Put us out here. That's not that far off. I'm on a 4-hour here, so this would be January. So we're a little over not quite well, let's see, a couple of months, not quite. 6-7 weeks to get out to that, to get that 3, 4, 5 to play there. I think this is. Well, now here I'm on a 4-hour. I think this is very, very viable. We've already had the first little push and retrace here. So this would, you're not trying to, I'm on a 4-hour here. So this would be something you'd be, well, you're already a little bit late to this off of this, the initial retest here. We'll go down and look at the smaller time frame. But I wouldn't be overly concerned about trying to get a perfect, I wouldn't be worried about pennies down here. What are we at? $2.32, and you're dicking around to try and get $2.12. I wouldn't worry about that too much. If you want to be long here, I wouldn't be overly concerned about pennies down there. I think it's a reasonable place to get long. Stop under the 65, or you could use some of the structure here. You might give that a little bit more room, or you might. We've seen the market responding lately to. Oh shit! I want the other one. To the 707, so you might get the 707 on there. That right? So I showed you I use that in Bitcoin. And so just to give it a little more breathing room, so you're beyond the 65, just on the other side of the 707, right? Square root of 50. So that's a contender here. I don't know that I'd give it all the way down here. I'd just, if it's going to come down, if we're going to get a failure swing here. So if we go up, well, we know there's going to be resistance here. We don't have to wonder about it. We know there's going to, from this dominant to dominant, we're going to come up here, and there is. Let's take this off here. There's just zero doubt, right? We know, right? And this market's been responding to 50s that would be teed up, right? Now, do we know? Does it turn at the 50? Well, we don't know. Could be golden zone. Well, shit, could be 786. We don't know. We know that there's high probability here. We can just look at the structure here. That 50 is going to be in play, and if they start selling there, they'll stay until they get on the other side of that. So just looking at that, and then kind of. Often I'll just grab a line here, just kind of bring it over here and say, well, what am I going to bump into over here? Well, here's prior support becomes resistance, becomes support, resistance. It's not quite as much up here. Well, I guess we'd have, I bring that over, maybe we'd have this coming into play. I get right on that. As we come up to that, prior resistance could play again. Ideally, you want to see prior resistance becoming support or prior support becoming resistance. So I think this 50 here is going to be telling as to how strong we are. But that just because we hit some resistance there could easily just be a pivot that sets us up for the 1-2 at the lower degree, right? So we get 1-2, and then we're up going 3, perhaps an algo target, right? You guys know how that works. So we'll wait and see, what kind of reaction we get here. But we can anticipate there's likely to be some selling there. So not a crazy complicated count here. It's a little unusual with the B wave here, but you can kind of, all of the false starts here, as soon as this rolled over here, the 1-2 or any of the 1-2, 1-2, well, actually it was 1-2, 1-2, it was a kind of a shaky 1-2 here. So with the collapse here right to golden zone, you can see how, all right, maybe this is a case to start rebuilding the bullish side here. Maybe, right? Of course, I don't want to suggest that we ignore this potential path here. It would this looks like we can complete an impulse here. If this is 3, 4, and we come down for the 5 into the golden zone. So if we're going to go deeper, this count's going to get a little tricky as to how that's going to resolve, because now we're talking more likely this would be an A. We'd have an A, B, and then a C. I guess, anything's possible, but that's going to be a little unusual. So let's get this off of here. Let's go down to a 1 hour. So looking at this, Well, just working backwards. I'm right on this. So this would have to be 5, 4. All right, so we kind of look at this and go, all right, so just kind of doing that, just working backwards. Well, if that's 1, 2, well, this would have to be 3, 4, and this would have to be 5 to get you down here. So unless we might have to do it this way, that would be an extension in the 1, 3, 4. Well, this now I think I like it better here. So this would be the potentially the 1, 2 here. So let's check that from the 2 to the 3 here. So there's 38 to the tick. So that looks better. So this would have to be, you'd have to go 1, 2, 3, 4, big rip in the 5 of the 3. That plays, but because from the 2 through the bottom of the pivot of the 3 to the 38, I'm much more inclined to get my 4 here. Shit, I don't even know that it matters at this point. But if this is 4, 5, and we come down here, well, that could matter, right? If this fails, right? If we just do A, B, and we go up to a C, we hit that 50 again, we start down, then you're going to be revisiting this count, because this here, it's potential here we're revisiting here, but we don't want to go there yet until we see. So at this degree, could we have 1, 2? Yeah, we could. So you'd have to be thinking, well, shit, let's get this. Get you back there. Let's hide that. Okay, let's hide that. So 1, 2, maybe. Here we'd be going 1, 2. This is going to need to get up and go. Let's get that degree up. Here, shit. Let's get that. Okay, so 1, that's a deep 2. So you can see the little head and shoulders here, right? A 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, or A, B always looks like a head and shoulders, because it is. So here, potentially, that sets up here as the 2. Could this be 1, 2? We're going to have to go A, B. Yeah, you got, I mean, really, it looks like a 5. So you might, tricky, right? So you could, because we could have a diagonal here. Let's just check that. Yep, it's long enough. So you could have a diagonal here. So this could be A, B. A little mixed messages here. This could be A, then we'd have A, B, C could be going in here before we go down again. All right, if we come down, we're going to start to challenge these prior pivots. It becomes kind of a question mark. Let's pull that off here. So see, this is a bit problematic. Now you could maybe you'd have to do it this way: is A, B, and then C, and then work the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I would stick with this as an ABC until I was forced to change it. So if that's the 1 of the next degree, then 1, 2, then I would check this. Are we technical here? Right, golden zone, of course, right? So we go, if this is the 1 ABC here, golden zone, look, we get to target, get a reaction. Now it's got some more legs. So if this is going to continue to carry on out of this 2, this would be the 3 here, right? At least we'd have a target for the 3. Nothing says it must go there. We could get 3. Oh, shit. 1, 2. Oh, wait. Let's get 1, 2 here. I'm in the next degree. So this would be 1, 2. Actually, I take that back. So this has got to be high. Fuck. It's got to be higher. So we got to go up a degree. Let's go to minuet, and so this has to be at the lower degree 1, 2. We're looking for 3, 4, 5. Let's get that down. Let's go to yellow. Okay, so this relative to this 1, 2, if that's going to go 3, 4, 5, this would be your 3 at the next degree. 4, 5, maybe going up here. So see if we can put that all together. Get rid of you over here. So that's a little skinny for a, depending on how you're trading, I was just thinking that's a little skinny for a set of median lines here. It's too steep, so you'd already be looking at shift. It's maybe. I'd like to get a little bit more structure to it. So if this is 1, 2 here, at the degree higher, we gone 7, 8, 6 here, right? So it's to the tick for the 1, 2. It plays as a 2, then 1, 2 into a golden zone, and off we go here. So this has got some work to do. to prove itself. So yeah, let's see about 100% here. So if this is 1, 2 here, yeah, we got there, right? Look, we ran right into the 233 to the tick. So, but ideally, you'd want to see another leg. You'd just be a little more confident here if you could get this, right? Just to get a little bit more conviction in this is a hard low and that we've gone 1, 2, 1, 2. As opposed to something that's perhaps, right, we've got an A and a B going in, right? It's a little early to just lean hard into these. I think this is tradable, but right here, you're kind of late on this, right? So you got the perfect golden zone here. So you're a little late to the party here. So I might wait just to see, I mean, really, at this point, the trade that's left for you here is the 4 to the 5. I don't know that I'd be chasing it right into the 233 at the 100. I wouldn't chase that here. I think it's a little late to try and just jump in to try and ride the 3, right? Knowing the 4 is going to come. So even if it just does, right, assuming it holds here and we come back, you're right back damn near to where you got in. So I don't know that there's enough. The risk reward doesn't really support the idea that if you bought here trying to ride the 3, if the 4 does come, right? Right, nothing's inevitable, but if it does come, well, you're right back to where you got into it. I don't think you're missing anything. But if we complete the 3, if we get up here to where we could anticipate our higher probability zone for a 3, if it plays ball there and then comes down to the 38, I think the 4 to the 5, that's very reasonable. But of course, that's just going to set up the larger degree to the next. To 1 degree higher, you're going to set up the next potentially, right? There's that one waiting to happen, sitting right here. So that is a roadmap that would get you. Now, if you got to this 4, 5, then this could get more interesting. I might do the whole 1 through the 3. See if you had that lined up for the 5 there. I'd probably play with both of these just to kind of see which one tags it, how close, well, they're pretty damn near around top of each other. Then we have some structure here at this, let's see, 3 hour. That was that. Hang on. Right, it was this pivot up here. All right, potentially now prior resistance, we had looked at that as something to pay attention to. So the fact that we'd be potentially tagging that, again, first thing we're going to have to get through is this structure here, this white line right here. We got to get through that. That's sitting on the 23.6 from the dominant high to low of the 1 wave, I should say. Pardon me. From the low to the high of the 1. This is a higher high, but we're trading it as the 2. Pardon me, as the B of the 2. So coming out of here, it's early. I don't think you need to FOMO into this. It's a long way to go. I don't think you need to worry about, oh shit, I better hurry up and get into Link before it takes off on me. Now, if you're worried about that, I think maybe get just a small piece here. It's just, again, so is this your trading? Is this your trading money or is this your holding money? All right, if you're trading it, these are really, put it in context, right? So these are really tiny little swings. This would be not for your holding bank. Right, when it got here, and this was perhaps a place to go with your holding bank. But these little micro swings, that's just for people that like to get down there and trade this. Here I'm on a 3 hour, you're probably down trading a 30-minute if you're trying to get into some of that. Not that there's anything wrong with it. It's just, it's not that I don't like to do it or haven't done it. I just don't have time to do it, to tell you the truth. So it's just my reality is a little bit different running this business, and with my responsibilities as part of what we do for our members here. So I don't have time to go into that. But for those of you that do, right, that can kind of watch this throughout the course of the day, that's very tradable. But if you're not, just watching the market all day long, essentially like I do, let this complete here. Get a pivot, and then your first internal is a safer way to go. You're not going to miss the party. Be my suggestion. But it just depends on the kind of time you have, and how do you really like to get into all those tiny swings? Some people love it. All right, I've been there. I've been that guy. All right, guys, there you go. I'm going to try and get one more since we had so many votes, guys. Okay, we'll be back.